Hello, everyone. We're back 5 minutes late, but still a good time to celebrate 420. You're good. Happy 420. Oh, we started on the Central time?
Yeah, we're like an hour late from the East Coast. So, Central.
Sorry, East Coast. We missed you this time, but we'll be back. Anyways, okay, so let's start with this clip. We can smoke and respond to them. And so you and I were talking off camera that we wouldn't be surprised if Nancy Pelosi and Donald Trump were friends behind the scenes.
They were like best friends. They go to dinners together.
So she calls him, if like phone records came out and they like talk every night.
They get paid.
And so people. Nancy Pelosi called Donald Trump morbidly obese on Anderson Cooper's show.
They fight like little kids.
Yeah, let's take a look and respond to this.
As far as the president is concerned, he's our president, and I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved by the scientists,
She's talking about
especially in his age
hydroxychloroquine?
group and in his, shall we say, weight group, what is morbidly
Put his pills
obese,
where
they
his
say.
mouth is.
So I think it's not a good idea.
For a
In
fatty
terms
to
of the
take
State
something
Department
that
Inspector
might
General's firing, I've read the letter that you sent to President Trump asking for an explanation. The House Foreign Affairs Chairman is launching, I know, a probe into this, and you said yesterday that if the firing looks like it's retaliation, that could be unlawful. What would happen then?
The Inspector General.
Well, the
I
fact
think.
is that
She's
the
talking about the one he
president
fired
should
recently.
acknowledge, why we even have inspectors general. This followed Watergate to have transparency, accountability, to fight waste, fraud, abuse in our governmental actions. While the president is correct in saying he can fire anyone he wants, when it comes to inspectors general, he has a responsibility to inform Congress first. But it is also essential when he says, he has lost my confidence, to tell us why he has lost his confidence. This is the fourth inspector general that the president has lost confidence in, so to speak, and it's a pattern that I think is unhealthy for a democracy.
I don't think he understands why they're there.
He has now said publicly, the president, that he doesn't know anything about this person, that he was asked to do this by the Secretary of State, and that when
I
he
don't
heard
think he
that
understands
he was
their job.
appointed by President Obama.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think they're friends.
He's firing them.
Yeah.
He's like, they keep complaining about me. It's like, they're there to be like, to keep you, there's like that little fire under your ass. So make sure you're not doing bad things. But then it's like, if he hears that, then it's, how is he on my team? I think that's what Trump's thinking, right? And
But
so he's just like, he's just being a.
But like you said, you're like, I don't even think Trump knows that he's there. Like according to Anderson Cooper, Trump fired him under the direction of his Secretary of State.
So like he might be asking to do stuff and he doesn't understand what's the pushback or where the pushback is. There's like these things in place to make sure things are thoroughly looked at before he just like,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, she was Nancy Pelosi was talking about how that position was there since like Watergate so that they can.
But I think for Trump, he hasn't been in politics long enough to understand those things. So whenever he feels like, oh, what's that? Then someone might tell him and then they're like, can we fire him? They're like, well, yeah. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah, which he did. And Obama fired his too. So it's not like Trump was the first guy to ever fire an inspector general.
Yeah, but it just seems like so many.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going. This still
That seemed to be reason enough for the president. Secretary Pompeo says he asked for the inspector general to be fired because he was, quote, undermining the State Department. And I know, in addition to the IG investigating whether Pompeo made a staffer perform a variety of personal errands, Pompeo refused to cooperate, we're learning, with the IG's probe into the Saudi arms sales, which you also indicated in your letter. Do you have confidence in Secretary Pompeo right now?
Well, the fact is that they declared an emergency almost a year ago as the basis for how they would, why they needed to have the arms sales to the Emirates and to Saudi Arabia. It wasn't appropriate. Right now, they're having another advising us of something that they're giving over $5 million worth of ventilators to Russia. Russia can very well afford to pay for those ventilators. So they just wheel and deal in a way that is not appropriate. I wouldn't put up with it with a Democratic president or a Republican president. But that arms sale, by declaring a fake emergency in order to just go forward without the accountability and transparency that our government really thrives on, is something that is worthy of attention. And perhaps, and I don't know for sure, I just said in my letter that it has been reported in the press that it was about the Saudi arms sale.
That's like, she gets on him for like the Saudis arms sale, but then while she was impeaching Trump for the Ukraine phone call, she approved like a $130 billion increase in war spending for the executive branch, which is Trump. And it's like, if you're going to criticize someone for arms deals, like,
why do you enable
but then
them?
you also enable their military spending. It's like, it's like she's just using it as a talking point to make the Republicans or Trump look bad. But then in reality, if her administration was in office, she'd be doing the same thing.
They're allowing the same thing to happen anyways.
Exact same thing. Anyway, so yeah, they're buddies. For sure.
It's a show.
The House has narrowly passed more funding for people, more of a bailout. And I'm wondering, the Senate, clearly it's likely to fail in the Senate. The president has threatened to veto it. What is the next step for that? I mean, is this done?
They're going to come to the table. They must. The American people need this honoring our heroes by allocating the resources to state and local governments, tribal governments, and territories to meet the needs of the American people. The American people want us to open up our economy, and we do that by testing, tracing, treatment, and whatever else is necessary in that regard. And then we need to put money in people's pockets. All three of these things have been supported by the Republicans. So we wrote a bill that was based on initiatives that they have supported and that we have both supported in a bipartisan way. We do have some areas of disagreement, and those are cause for negotiation. But I don't think there's any question that what this country needs is a robust testing initiative with a plan, a timetable, benchmarks, milestones to get the job done, that our states and localities are going to have to either raise taxes, cut services, or both, unless they have an infusion of cash for the purpose of countering, helping to defray the cost of corona already, the coronavirus cost, as well as the lost revenue because of corona. And it is, so I have no doubt that they will come to the table.
Speaker Pelosi, I appreciate.
God fucking damn. Sorry. I was just thinking about how she was talking about how the state and local governments are going to have to start making cuts because unless they get a cash infusion from the government. She works in Congress, the only people that can actually create cash infusions for the government and the people. That's Congress.
They lay the pipeline.
No, but it's like
the flow of money, and they're the ones saying that's what the president needs to.
Well, and then she makes a point about how, people need like direct cash infusions and how, it's the Republican and Democrats both agree. But then she quickly pivots to we need robust testing and schedules and goals and it's like right, and it's like, do you want that plan so that can make Trump look bad, so you can like your focus is so much on like the testing, but then you recognize that the money is an issue, but then you're not actually laying out any groundwork for it, even though Congress is the one directly Congress is
can actually do it,
the entity of government that's supposed to give people money, not the Fed.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Feds don't have any right to say where the money goes. They're just the ones.
They can take they can take care of like macroeconomics for like our economy, but then when it comes to microeconomics, like direct cash to like people's hands and businesses.
That's why if we leave it to the Feds, they can only give it to the big structures like the banks or the whatever, like the right, because that's how the system is. They don't have access to just give it to the people. Like,
yeah. And so to me, it just seems like if she doesn't have the plan for it, then she's just laying the groundwork to blame someone else.
Yes, they both don't want it to happen, but they're both going to just use it as an excuse to say, well, they say they both want it. Yeah. She said they both bipartisan, like even the Republicans want it. Mm-hmm. And I've heard more from the Republicans and heard that they're actually voting for things that are diverting the money more towards the people rather than bailing out.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the holdup is.
Well, let's see what how Trump responds when some reporters ask him about this. And they also bring up some of the Russiagate stuff.
Russiagate.
We had a great meeting. All of the Republican senators were there. I think we made tremendous progress on a lot of different issues. Mitch and John, that was terrific. Discussed about everything. I think everything you can discuss. We have a lot of very positive things happening, both in terms of the country, in terms of the election that's coming up. We're doing very well in every way. Do you have any questions?
Last night, Nancy, Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, called you morbidly obese. I just wanted to know what you had to say in response.
Oh, I don't respond to her. I think she's a waste of time.
Mr. President, what are your priorities? What did you tell the senators are your priorities for future?
Well, we have a lot of priorities. The priority we have is a priority for the country and bringing it back. I use the expression transition to greatness. We're going to have a really good third quarter. It's already happening. You see it. You see what's going on. We're opening up. The states are opening up. Numbers are going down as they open. Look at Georgia. Look at Florida. Look at others. We have states that are opening up, and the numbers are going down.
Georgia, Florida.
I think the rate of infections and deaths might be going down. So they might be seeing, like, maybe they saw like 1,000 a day last week, and now they're seeing like 700 a day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it's a transition
because of that.
Well, I think they were going to open up anyways. I think just the numbers going down just helped them. But I think the numbers,
I
yeah.
heard in Texas they're going back up.
Probably. Texas has like one of the lowest governor approval ratings right now. They're not happy.
The greatness. It's the third quarter, then it's going into the fourth quarter. I think the fourth quarter is going to be really good, but I think that above all, next year you're going to have a tremendous year. Now, with all of that being said, to lose lives over this that could have been stopped by China, it should have been stopped by China, is terrible. That a thing like this could have happened to the world, long beyond us. You're going to lose millions of people. We're talking about the world. The whole world is being affected by this. It's a terrible thing. A terrible,
You
terrible
as a
thing.
U.S. president, aren't you the leader of the free world?
Well-
Yet you take no responsibility?
Yeah. No.
What was your part in it? You're the one that's leading the world. Like,
How-
he thinks he's like the best president of the whole,
How quickly did he go from
then it
saying like
blames-
we're going to see a great Q3, we're going to see a great next year, make America terrific again or whatever he said, and then he quickly shifts to like
blaming
blame
China for
mode.
millions of deaths.
Right.
So if all the bad news is blame it on somebody else,
And so
all
it's
the good
like-
stuff.
It's like, what is it? Is America getting better or is the world getting worse? And
It's all connected.
well, it just seems like it's all positioning for the election. Like the reason why he brings up Q3 specifically, and then next year, and then China. It's like,
Of course,
it's
about the elections. He even said it.
but now it's like,
I'm like, wow, we're still.
now this like pandemic or this human crisis that we're having has just been politicized now, where it's like now we think the only options are to open up the country or to not, when really it's like,
How about we just survive?
right, yeah, how about the government works like a government and actually helps the people through this, and then they look after their self-interests before.
Yeah,
But-
why do they think just going back to work is what is?
because you can politicize it. You can be like, those people are keeping us out of work. Like they shut everything down. Like we're the ones that want to get back to work. Or, it's like now all of a sudden there's a side and you choose which side to be on. Okay, let's keep.
Side that beats the virus.
Timeline. The FDA warned that hydroxychloroquine could cause serious side effects, especially with heart.
Yeah.
Why is it okay for you to promote the use of this drug when you're not a
Because we're in
doctor?
America. We advertise drugs.
Well, I've worked with doctors, and if you look at the one survey, the only bad survey, they were giving it to people that were in very bad shape. They were very old, almost dead. It was a Trump enemy statement Now, if you look at some of the reports that came out from Italy, that came out from France, that came out from a lot of our frontline workers take it because it possibly, and I think it does, but people are going to have to make up their own mind. Plus, it doesn't hurt people. It's been out on the market for 60 or 65 years for malaria, lupus, and other things. I think it gives you an additional level of safety, but you can ask many doctors are in favor of it. Many frontline workers won't go there unless they have the hydroxy. And so, again, this is an individual decision to make, but it's...
You look like you have something to say.
It's like the lady who's like, doctors told me it's bad for me to wear the mask. It's like, what? Which frontline worker? He said, many. A lot of doctors aren't going to go to without hydro.
Yeah.
Who?
It's just anecdotal evidence that he's taken for fact, and now he's expecting us to take it for fact.
Yeah, he speaks it as if it's true. And I'm like, this is why... I guess this is why there's so much more weight on it. Like, they need to shut him up.
Well,
the people who drink, like...
You know what I realize is, like, when I look at, like, subreddits on Reddit, like politics or whatever, I realize, like, if you actually click on the links, it'll tell you if it's, like, an opinion piece or if it's, actually, like, reported.
Yeah, it's supposed to say if it's got facts or research behind or opinion piece.
So the danger is when the opinion pieces headlines get posted and the readers are taking the headlines as if it's like a reported
factual,
fact. Right.
Report.
And so that's how he's kind of stating his statements, is as if they're reported facts. But really, it's an opinion.
Yeah, all of his are opinions. Like, he's not an expert in pretty much anything. But
I'm just...
He is trying to... I think people relate to him and like him because he says it in just like layman's terms. He doesn't even remember the terms given to him. And a lot of times you can tell he was told something in a briefing and he totally mixed it up. Because, but the way he speaks and the way, like, the confidence stuff and people being able to kind of, I guess, follow him sometimes or understand, then they're just like, oh, okay, they take it as...
Yeah, I think
that's so...
I think that speaks to a broader...
Dangerous.
A broader scope of how we communicate to each other even. And now that everyone has, like, the phone in their hands, like, you basically have the internet in the palm of your hands. And so... people speak as if they have authority on subjects which they really only have opinions on. And so that line of actual
or people not realizing how in-depth the research needs to be for people to actually write it out, like, in their research. Like, they test and look things up so thoroughly, and then other people who are like, oh, I research too. It's just like, no, for Google whatever links isn't gonna give you the...
Yeah, so that line between, like, confident idiots and confident actual students of a discipline, it's indistinguishable now because the confidence levels are the same.
There is a discrepancy because actual scientists and actual students of that science, there's always that humility to know that you might not know it all because you might be wrong.
Right. Let me preface that then.
They don't have that like this is how it is. It's never like that. In
it would be it would be harder. It would be indistinguishable to people who have no knowledge on the subject between a confident idiot and a confident actual student of the discipline. And so you see that in a lot of like Karens and stores where they're like, you're making me breathe in my CO2. Don't you know how bad that is for you? And it's like, are you serious? Anyways, okay, let's keep going with the clip.
Yeah, but the fact that he's our president and doing it.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah.
I guess, I don't know. I guess maybe this is why people stepped out of being involved in our government and voting. And
yeah, because...
like, what is this shit show? I'm just kidding. But I don't know.
All right, let's roll it.
A great reputation.
Okay, and the thing that he says it's not dangerous, and it's an individual choice. I wanted to say I have an actual autoimmune.
You've been prescribed hydroxychloroquine.
Yes, in the same dosage, 200 milligrams, and I'm supposed to take that on the daily. When they gave me the list of bad side effects, I individually decided not to take it because of the potential risks that drug. So even they would be like, holy crap, you can't say that.
Can you tell me the side effect that made you
there's heart issues.
decide?
That's why the reason why they picked on him being fat is because, and the reports out of Italy and other people who used hydroxychloroquine for the COVID patients was they were getting heart arrhythmias. They were having fat, like a bunch of cardio issues, which, so it's it's not
It's contradicting.
No, well, it's not.
Oh.
They say not to give it to people who could potentially have that, obese,
Right.
hypertension, whatever. And so he's one of those people that the doctors wouldn't even recommend it to him.
Yeah.
And he's saying all the doctors would take it, and that there's no negative real side effects, and it's better. It's like a no risk type of safety thing. And like that's.
Yeah. He's like a bad drug
Why?
dealer.
Like even though pharmaceutical companies make advertisements, they actually have a marketing team that market and advertise their drugs. Which of their marketing team people are actually headed by doctors? I don't know. Why that isn't totally backwards and illegal in the U.S., I don't know. But he's doing the same thing now, and we think it's normal because we see that stuff in the medical. Like, that's why I feel bad. No one's going to question it.
Well, I think even after this like opioid epidemic, I think people just trust doctors less.
But it's not the doctor.
No, I understand.
I know, and so now it's
but
all
it's,
backwards. Like,
yeah. Well, anyways,
that's
okay.
where all the anti-vaxxers came from.
Yeah, maybe.
They lost trust, but they lost trust in the wrong thing because they.
Right,
don't know
because
how
you
it's
assume the
connected.
system is all one thing, and
And so you can place blame on the players who you think are in charge, which would be the doctors.
well, because it's easy to assume. It's like, well, if you're
no,
paid
the
to sell
admin
me,
people and the marketing people, yeah,
if you're being
are-
paid to sell me pharmaceuticals, I'm just going to get recommended as pharmaceuticals, and I don't want to take those. Okay, let's keep going with this clip.
If it was somebody else other than me, people would say, gee, isn't that smart? But we are working on a lot of other things. I'll tell you what, the great medical companies that we have, if you look at what they're doing therapeutically, cure-wise, and the vaccine itself, and the vaccine, I think, is less important than some of the things they're working on. They're working on a cure, and we have more than one doing it, and very advanced.
Just 'cause the vaccine
They're
takes
working
so
on
long.
therapeutics, and they're working on vaccines.
Mr. President,
There's been tremendous progress.
Mr. President,
Have you talked to senators much about the reforms you would like to see to FISA so Americans aren't surveilled?
Yeah, they have
Surveilled.
a lot of
This
views on
must have been
FISA.
surveillance.
I didn't get involved. I purposely said to Mitch, you go do what you want. We'll take a look. We're going to look at FISA. But nobody's been abused by FISA like the President of the United States. Because what the Democrats did and the dirty cops, they're dirty cops. The FBI people are great. I'll bet you go in there, they like Donald Trump. But the top of the FBI, they were dirty cops. They were crooked, bad people. And nobody's been abused more than Trump. But you look at General Flynn, you look at so many others, not just us.
All right. So, in case you don't know, when he's talking about the FBI,
FISA is the United States Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court.
yeah. So I think what that is when he's talking about the FBI, the head of the FBI being crooks, he's talking about the FBI agents that investigated Michael Flynn and tried to get him to lie, so they can start the whole Russiagate thing.
Yeah, the beginning.
And so I think FISA is a surveillance act where you can unmask people on phone calls, because Obama saw Michael Flynn's transcript, but they had to unmask him through a legal means, which I think is that.
Yeah, like there a lot of the government's data and all that stuff is it's very like highly classified or whatever.
Right.
So we have to fight it's not like open, like what are those Public Freedom of Information Act?
Oh, yeah,
Those aren't, none of
FOIA.
those things are, so they have to, do it by legal means.
Yeah, so that's what
It's
Trump's
not
talking about when he's talking about the crooked FBI agents and Michael Flynn, is that the FBI agents went in to lie and try to get
trap him or whatever.
Michael Flynn, his national security advisor, former.
Take a look at so many others. Look at what they've done, how they've abused FISA. So I'm going to be studying it very much. But the FISA process has gone awry. It was used by very dishonest people. It was used illegally. And frankly, the judges on the FISA court should do something about it. And maybe they will.
Mr. President, are you satisfied with how Republican senators have responded on the Flynn case and on the origins of the Russia investigation?
Well, I think on the swing states, you said?
The Flynn case.
On the Flynn case? General Flynn is a man of great respect. I was with General Milley, the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the other day. I said, you know General Flynn? He said, yes, I do. He's a fine man. I've known him for 20 years. He's a fine man and a great soldier. General Flynn was treated horribly. General Flynn was treated illegally. These people, they broke the law. They broke the law. What they've done to General
He's a
Flynn
Democrat, too.
should never happen. What they've done to the presidency and what they've done to this country can never be allowed to happen again to our country. And despite all of that has been done, everything that's been done, we've had one of the greatest presidencies ever. We have never, I don't think anybody, Mitch, I think we can say it with surety, nobody's accomplished what we've accomplished in a relatively short period of time, a 3-year period of time. Nobody's been able to do that. When you look at rebuilding our military, regulations,
What was wrong with-
at a level that
Rebuilding?
Yeah,
nobody's
what was
come
wrong with the
close to
military?
regulations,
After the
biggest
terrible
Our
decrease
military.
in
the
history.
Iraqis.
You look at all of the things that we've done, all of the things we've done on health care, with the individual mandate, with pre-existing conditions. Nobody's done anywhere close to what we've done. But despite that, if you look, despite an illegal witch hunt, and that's what it was. It was a hoax. It was a witch hunt. The Russian thing was a made-up, fabricated story. Just like they went to Congresswoman Kelsey Gabbard. I don't know her at all.
What?
Tulsi?
Oh, yeah. They called her a Russian agent. Chelsea Gabbard. Anyways. But,
Hilarious.
yeah, it's kind of true. But, yeah, isn't that crazy? All of that Russiagate ended up not being anything. And now they're trying to say,
They're constantly
Obama-
just vying for power.
so I think on one of our comments, someone said Obama warned Trump not to hire Michael Flynn, and it's like
Yes,
that's
I
not
already knew that.
right.
Like, that
and
was
it's like that's not evidence that Obama didn't set him up. If anything, that shows that he didn't like Michael Flynn even before President Trump hired him for anything.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, he just knows he's shady, maybe, but that's probably.
Well, anyway, so this is yeah, Nancy Pelosi and Trump, now they're just playing the same game on the same board, and most likely on all instance of legislation, they're on the same team. Do you know what I mean?
It just every time I think about politics and like the things that they're fighting over, it reminds me of when, and I always reference Silicon Valley. Remember when he found out that those two main investors were just the biggest reason they were fighting?
Oh,
Wasn't
yeah.
because they believed in his dream or they wanted to help him. It was just because they had beef with each other.
Yeah, because that investor that invested in him had also invested in other similar companies. All right. So, do you want to do
Oh, was there another one that you were not gonna? Did you decide we're not gonna cover?
No, that we just
Oh.
did it.
Oh, okay.
It's either What Happened to Bernie or HK Democracy Dies.
What happened in Hong Kong? I know we should have
Well, okay, so let's watch this clip because I saw this clip on. Actually, okay, let's go over the title first so people know what we're talking about.
did they? Where did they put all the prisoners? Did they come back?
I don't think so. I think they did the American model. They just put a bunch of people in prisons and forgot about them, and now they're gonna do slave labor to make their socks or whatever.
No, we make them socks. They guarantee organs.
Oh, nice. Hong Kong pro-democracy lawmakers dragged out of legislative session before pro-Beijing camp elects chair. So what that means is,
They dragged him out.
well, no, what happened was there's a chair that's been empty for 6 months.
Quite a literal chair, not like a Wall Street.
It's like Nancy Pelosi's chair, House Committee chair.
Okay, like in
Right?
that, it's a literal chair. Yeah, for a.
And
Position.
so I think what happened was someone just took the seat, and a bunch of, so there's two camps in Hong Kong politically, I guess. There's the pro-democracy camp and then the pro-Beijing. And so pro-Beijing, they want Hong Kong to be part of China and, one party or one nation, one policy. And pro-democracy, they want their own sovereign government. They want Hong Kong to be its own country, right. And so this is the video clip that got me on to doing this story.
Rico.
So that's a pro-democracy
Yeah, I don't think those masks are going to help you when you guys are all screaming and kicking.
So they're dragging them out so that they can vote the next chair committee in.
Then they can't count their votes?
Yeah, I'm assuming. So,
Or is it because they're holding it up and not allowing the vote to happen?
both. So they can vote them in easily, getting these pro-democracy people out. So imagine if this happened like in the United States, if like Nancy Pelosi's
Like,
chair.
total lie, guys.
Yeah,
Total lie.
if Nancy Pelosi's chair was empty for 6 months and then Trump put like Brett Kavanaugh there for some reason, and they dragged Bernie Sanders and AOC out, or I guess Congress, so AOC and other Democratic congressmen out who were trying to be the rule of law or go by that. It's incredible that happened this week. And so here's the article. Several pro-democracy lawmakers in Hong Kong were dragged out of a legislative council session on Monday in a melee that broke out over a bill that would criminalize any disrespect of the Chinese national anthem, according to reports. Quote, "If Hong Kong was a democracy, we would not need to start scuffles like this," one of the lawmakers carried out. Eddie Chu told the BBC, "Unfortunately, we are forced into this situation. I can foresee more fights with the chamber and outside the chamber." The uproar began when pro-Beijing lawmaker Chan Kin-por, who was appointed by the council president last week to oversee the election of a new House committee leader, occupied the chairman's seat and surrounded himself by more than 30 mask-clad security guards.
It's almost like a coup, but
Yeah.
not done with the presidency, done with the Congress.
So this guy, Chan Kin-por, he was appointed to by the council president last week to oversee the election,
voting.
right?
Yeah,
to
yeah.
oversee the election of a new House committee
not
leader.
to vote himself in. Not
Right.
to sit at the seat.
And so what does he do? He goes, he takes the seat, and then he surrounds himself with 30 security guards. God, I wish I knew more movies because I feel like there's something.
It's in a movie somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I don't know. What happened to Rome? Somewhere
what
in
happened?
history,
Oh, sorry. There's a.
someone's Senate or council or whatever it was.
Okay, so continuing the story. The House Committee, which decides when controversial bills, including the Chinese national anthem bill, will be voted on, has gone without a chairperson for months. China has accused pro-democracy lawmakers in Hong Kong of filibustering the bill to stall until council elections in September. So China, or pro-Beijing, and actually no, China has accused the Hong Kong pro-democracy laborers of basically stalling until they can, until elections in September.
Yeah, because it's so ridiculous. They're trying to make a law about it's like.
Well, I don't think it's about the
Just the
law. I
anthem?
think it's
National
about
anthem?
getting things passed. I
in
think
the bill.
they want a pro-Beijing person in that seat so they can start getting these laws passed. That just happens to be the first one. So as pro-democracy lawmakers entered the chamber, they tried to reach the chairman's seat, but they were met with force from the guards in a skirmish that lasted several minutes. At least one person was knocked to the ground, according to the BBC. One pro-democracy lawmaker took a running start and tried to jump over the guards to reach the chairman's bench before being pulled out of the air.
It's like a real football game. Like they're trying to get to the goal.
Yeah. One lawmaker
Steal the flag.
held a placard that read,
Steal the chair.
CCP, Chinese Communist Party, tramples HK legislator. Several pro-democracy lawmakers were carried out of the chamber, and with little opposition left, pro-Beijing lawmaker Starry Lee
40-1
was elected to the House Committee via vote 40-1. Wow.
Oh, good job, guys. Good job of enforcing democracy.
Here's some photos. Pro-democratic politician Lam Chuk-ting is taken away by security guards after Lam throws papers to pro-Beijing politicians Chan Kin-por as they attend a legislative council's House committee meeting in Hong Kong, Monday, May 18th.
Can you imagine if they had carried Pelosi out when she like ripped up the speech that
I know,
Trump
honestly,
handed
it's like
handed her?
and this isn't even, there are fights that break out in many countries, like parliaments or Congress.
And it's funny because all the people are suited up and stuff, and so
Yeah.
they look, and then there are these old guys like throwing punches.
These are the security guards. It looks like a Chow Yun-fat movie. Pro-Beijing politician Chan Kin-por, top center, sitting down, is surrounded by security guards during a legislative council's House committee meeting in Hong Kong. So this is how it started, and
How come it looks like the left side's so much shorter than the right?
it's because probably all the pro-democracy people are sitting on that side. They're like, we know you pro-Beijing people aren't going to do anything. You want to see the video again?
Oh my goodness!
So now it's like kind of clearer. Like you see the security guards, like they're the ones in like the darker gray suits. Like this is how democracy dies, huh? With literal kicking and screaming.
Look, he's like on the table.
Oh my gosh! I wonder how many people
They're
they
so
carried
nice.
out. Yeah, I mean,
I'm like,
at least they didn't go in with like batons.
yeah. Maybe they knew there's cameras.
Well, yeah, that guy's recording. This guy right here. And also whoever is
that's
recording
definitely
this.
not how they treated their protesters.
I think they treated the protesters worse. There's like...
That's what I'm saying. They like
Oh,
beat
right.
up. They shot live rounds.
Yeah,
into
yeah, yeah.
some
I see what you
protesting
mean.
crowd. Like they really were not
Mm-hmm.
nice. Beat up pregnant women.
I know, yeah. They don't care if they hurt you. I guess, yeah,
No,
when
they
you're...
called them cockroaches. Their
Yeah.
mentality of the people that they were like beating was that, here they're just like, it's a person. We
Well,
just want
I
their
guess-
vote. It's like the other one, it's like they're not even people. Like we need to.
Yeah, I guess when you say it that way, it's more disturbing to see this then, because it's like
know
they're
how to treat him
resorting
as a
more...
human.
No, they're resorting to more inhumane tactics now. You're just like,
Oh.
let's carry him out. It's like, we got to get our shit done.
Oh, I know. It's like, who does this except if you're in like elementary school? Like.
Yeah, seriously.
I guess that's what they mean by the breakdown of society.
Yeah. But that's...
Like that goes against all the bubble space rules I've been teaching my kids. They're like, I want to be carried like that. We're not allowed to have fun like that.
Well, so how do you think democracy is doing in America?
We have democracy here?
You sound like Jimmy Dore. So,
I only came back to live here because our fake democracy is, at least I thought, better than everybody else's fake democracy, but I'm starting to think
well, I
maybe
think
not.
Dylan Radigan on the Jimmy Dore said it best. He's like, I've just come to expect nothing from the government. And that way I'm never disappointed. You can still like live in the United States and take advantage of, all of the things that the United
I
States
guess
has to
because in
offer.
creating a government, the people that are in government will always shift to feeling like they are above or different than the people they are governing. And that's where
Yeah, that's the
problem
underlying
occurs.
problem. So, okay. So
But-
going with that, I think that is why Bernie Sanders was such a standout, is because people felt like he wasn't just a politician. He was actually empathizing with their issues.
Yeah, like he kind of still tried to stay grounded, even though his job is so vastly different or whatever than the rest of us. And he had been there for so long, like a lot of these career politicians. But it's like, that's what creates, I think, the disconnect. But he was able to hold, that's
Yes.
why I was like,
So-
I would have voted for him.
Yes.
If
So,
because I have seen his historically the things that he has fought for, the way he has pushed, the way I understand when there's like a negotiation or what are those trade-offs
Compromises.
that need to be made. There's like quite
compromise?
no, it's a different term.
Oh.
But it's what they do, those
So-
trade-offs, and it's like I get it, but then you're supposed to push back,
Right.
at least a little for the people if you see and they're telling you that there's a problem.
Right. So I guess the question is, what do you think happened to the Democratic Party now that Bernie Sanders is not?
They just didn't want to lose.
No, I no, right. But it's, do you think the Bernie Sanders followers have anywhere to go? Like now, do you think, the Democrats are actually adopting anything that he had on his platform, or they're actually trying to reach out to his voters? That's a question I've been wondering. It's a rhetorical question, but the Rising went over it, and that's why
I feel like there's going to be so many people who are so mad at the Democratic Party that they're just going to vote for Trump.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's exactly what I think is going to happen. And I think the DNC establishment is fine with it.
I think that, and the sad thing is, I think that they're okay, that Trump is your second choice over Biden.
Yeah. Bernie's your third. Let's take
not even the third.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They would rather have Trump than Bernie. The donors of the Democratic establishment would rather have Dumps.
Had Dukakis and what was that guy who was
Jesse Jackson?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at this clip from Crystal Ball on The Rising with Sagar and Jetty.
All right, Crystal, what's on your radar?
Well, a new Politico article seeks to tackle the future of the post-Bernie left and what exactly his loss means for the future. The headline reads, "Progressives thought they'd overtaken the Democratic Party. Now they're in despair." I think there are really three pieces here to think about. First was the way in which Bernie's loss occurred. Now, I just watched this Bernie Blackout documentary, which is well done. It is somewhat torturous to relive all the ups and downs of the incredibly abbreviated primary. But most painful was to watch all of the hopeful energy and optimism and organizers and workers sending in their $10 and students knocking on doors and the willingness to believe that things could be different, that things could be better. To actually invest their emotional energy and then watch as someone who barely campaigned had the waters parted for him by Obama and an overwhelming media propaganda narrative.
He didn't even know what way he was going. They're like, "We'll cut you through."
Yeah, honestly, I think over the last, 12 years, it's really been only 3, maybe 4 standout politicians, like Barack Obama, Trump, Bernie Sanders, and AOC. Do you know what I mean? Like, just in terms of how they're able to influence people. Like Crystal Ball was saying, it was so incredible seeing like young people go out and knock on doors and people sending in $10.
That's what happened in the midterms with Trump. So many young people.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Got involved.
Trump was another influential person where he got people to believe that they could be a part of this, like a movement and that's it's.
And now it's like, oh nope, they weren't really listening. You
well,
can't
right,
really
and
be
then
heard.
and then like she said like all of that hope and enthusiasm just got brutally washed away by everyone lifting up Biden.
Lie. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
No, it's just like you didn't even try.
Yeah, but he didn't have to, and he knew it.
No, they didn't even try. They didn't even try to hide it.
Yeah,
almost.
They're just like, everyone drop out, endorse me.
Even care for
that'll cover it.
Bernie people, I don't think.
But you and I both know
they don't want those people either.
Both know Democrats, and we heard their own rhetoric on why they wouldn't vote Bernie.
Well, that's only because they were listening to American news all the time, like all the Democratic news. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
You're getting from the Democrats Bernie hate? Like, so what does that tell you? Like,
well, that's what I'm beginning to realize when you watch Nancy Pelosi and Donald Trump side by side. You realize like they're on this. There's just one central party.
It's like brother and sister bickering,
right? And they get to blame each other whenever
they inherit the same fat fuck.
It's like they take two sides to get both what they want, and then they blame each other, and that's like the false narrative is that everything is binary in the United States. You know, our only option is stay closed or open up, and it's like, or it's like every single issue is now politicized. All right, let's keep going with this.
To be so close to having a shot at real change and then watch it all crumble in record-breaking time from a massive coordinated establishment effort fed a sense that the project not only failed, but was perhaps doomed from the outset. Second was the way in which Bernie bent the knee. Now, it was one thing to watch Bernie get out of the race prematurely, in my view, when he could have stayed in longer to gain more leverage and provide a viable alternative should additional questions and credible allegations arise regarding Joe's past. It was another thing to watch Bernie's cringeworthy live stream with his friend Joe and see all the people who hated him and trashed him and would have gone to any lengths to stop him come out with all of their faux praise. But the real killer was to see Bernie actually chastise his supporters who were not ready to climb on board with a candidate who doesn't share their values or their view of politics. Now, I understand why Bernie views the landscape as he does, and I really do believe that he thinks he is acting in what is national interest. But in that moment, not only did it seem like the project was potentially doomed, it appeared that the revolutionary rhetoric had been just that, rhetoric. And now the revolutionary was trying to sell us on the transformational change of some task forces, seemingly abandoning his legacy of unvarnished truth-telling to be just like all the rest, willing to sacrifice every principle and 40-year-long ideal in service of beating Trump.
Yeah, that's...
He's just tired.
Yeah, I understand that.
What were we gonna expect? You should have let one of the younger people make it. Why didn't?
Because honestly, it almost seems like the perfect environment for him to really emerge as a leader, because he can kind of just point back at everything that he's been saying. And I don't know. I guess it's hard when the entire Democratic establishment is already set in a different way, and he doesn't have the energy to fight that. Yeah, he kind of joined that carousel, and now he's on the.
And then now he sees
the
it,
Trump
and he's
is
like,
worse than Biden
crap,
team.
Get me off. I don't want to end my thing by becoming a president and having to do crappy things. He probably would have to do.
Yeah.
You think he would have been able to do much, even if?
Well, right, and so it's hard because his followers have nowhere to go, because no one's really picked up.
Mexico? Are they still letting us in?
I meant politically, but you know.
Yeah.
All right, let's
go.
Well,
why doesn't he go to the? Oh, is that always because he doesn't want to be?
He doesn't want to be Ralph Nader.
Seatbelt man. Yeah.
Ralph Nader. Yeah, he will never. He doesn't want to be
the Green Party.
Third party.
Into the lesser of two evils framework that leads to endless hell and the fundamental impossibility of real change. After all, why would the corporatists offer anything better if they can just be slightly better than the bad guys? They weaponize Bernie's basic decency to become a tool of crushing his own movement.
That's an interesting line. Why would the corporatists do any better when they just have to be a little bit better than the bad guy? And I think that's the Democrats' assumption, and why they keep losing, or why they lost in 2016, and why they're probably going to lose with Biden, is that they're marketing Biden as better than Trump. But then I think to the people,
it's like, but how?
Yeah,
there's no how.
Why? In what way?
What are you gonna do? Like, what? Just because, like, you followed around a black president and really helped him out for 8 years. Yes, I'm glad. That's a great thing that you did. But then what? What are you gonna do on your own without someone like
you? Yeah, when I comment, I comment with people on some political threads, and a lot of times people will try to convince me to vote for Biden, and I'll say why, and oftentimes they'll just list a bunch of reasons of why Trump is bad. And I'm like, what is Biden?
I already know I don't want to talk about Trump. I want to know what Biden wants.
But when you ask just a simple question, what is Biden going to do for voters? There is no there's no straightforward There's no straightforward answer. There's no universal answer. Like, no Democrats have.
The universal answer is he's not going to be Trump. I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah, but the question was, what is Biden going to do for voters? And you can't give and I haven't seen a reason that people universally give that's not related to Trump. And that's what she's saying, is that the corporatists, like the people who are donating to these campaigns, they're just nominating a guy who's a little bit better, but in no significant way for voters. Okay, so let's keep going now, though. We're
in a
on
way
that
that
page.
frankly he alone could do. Finally, there is a deep sense of impotence in the face of a crisis where the forces of corporatism instantly leapt into action and won all their most important priorities, while the left meekly protested in a tweet or a live stream or an occasional floor speech. We get that the moment is now, and that the agenda we believe in is exactly what was called for at this time. And yet the movement that could have fought for that agenda is defeated by the establishment and then demoralized by its former leader. Our inability to take action further hampered by a necessary separation that keeps us from physically gathering. Let me end this rather depressing explication on a hopeful note, though. It's stupid to think that an ideology which is growing in acceptance and which came within moments of the presidency is irrelevant or dead or any of that. That's not true. The present may be a moment of despair in seemingly blocked paths and barred doors. But if there's one thing we've learned, it's that the moment can shift quickly, and that the forces of corporate greed can't help but overreach. Another moment of action and possibility is coming. Let's learn and let's be ready. And Sagar, on that piece, we already see some of the stirrings of that in talks about a general strike and some of the work actions that we're seeing in talks of a rent strike. But I do think that there is this sense of depression that is worth digging into, like what are the root causes of that? Because if you don't understand that, then you're delusional and you don't know how to move forward.
Yeah, of course. And look, self-criticism is the most important thing, especially in the wake of failure. I've also been thinking about this too, which is that if you look at the bailout package and what was successful and what was not. I saw a couple of people were tweeting about this yesterday. They were like, it's crazy. Like the most effective wings so far in terms of getting what they want have been the establishment Dems and establishment Rs.
Yep.
But in terms of outsider movements, the only people who've gotten anything into legislation, not a lot, maybe 5%, were some of these more populist Republican senators. And there's a real question as to why exactly that is. And what I've settled on is that you have to believe in two things to get something done. You have to believe in politics and you have to believe in government. So on the right, the establishment Republicans believe in politics and they believe in government.
Yeah.
But they use and believe in government to corporate ends. The populist people believe in politics and government, are on the right, believe in using government for more worker-centric ends. So they got some of what they want. Now, who are the people who are irrelevant? The progressives and the libertarians. Libertarians because they don't believe in government. Progressives because they don't really believe in politics. And I think that is actually what it really comes down to, which is at the end of the day, and what I mean when I say don't believe in
politics or policies. And I'm not understanding
Progressives
that.
don't believe in politics. I think they don't believe in politicizing topics for gain.
Okay.
But I think they still want government. Like they still want governance in terms of like schools.
Yeah, I can understand government without Well, I can't understand politics without government. Wait, no.
Well, let's keep going because that's. I don't think you're gonna get it now.
Is this fake trying to whip votes against the bill, this whole like only being able to muster 14 out of a necessary 18 votes, only one person ultimately voting against it, being completely unable to organize any sort of caucus that holds. Look, here's the other. I think we were talking about this. Why is the Congressional Progressive Caucus like 100 people?
Yeah,
that's essentially meaningless. That's almost half of the entire Democratic caucus.
Right.
It's much
and
better
some of them are apparently also members of like the New Democrat Caucus, which is the corporate caucus.
Yeah,
like,
somebody riddle me that one.
I'm not sure.
Doesn't go together.
Right, so what you should do is what the Freedom Caucus was, very tightly controlled. It was like 30, 40 people, but they were staunch believers in things, and they actually had enough actions in order to force leadership's hands. That's politics. They didn't believe in government, but they believed very strongly in politics.
I think, I don't know if I would say don't believe in politics, and maybe this is what you mean. I would say that they don't understand who their enemies actually are.
Well, that's part of politics.
Right, and that is part of politics. We talked to Dan Marins, a great reporter for Huffington Post, who has, real insight into the dynamics of the Progressive Caucus. And he talked, some of these people are just not progressive by any metric. Like, if you're in the New Democratic Caucus and you're in the Progressive, you're not.
Caucus is a meeting of supporters or members of a specific political party or movement. So I guess the Democratic Caucus is all the Democrat, like the DNC, but then you can have subsets that are caucuses because they're pushing a movement within that, either the bigger
within
one
the party,
or
right.
even separate.
And so I think he's saying because of its size, it's nearly it doesn't mean anything because it's so big. he's like, there should be smaller specialized caucuses that can push
within the Democratic,
Yeah.
because he said there's 100 and that's like half.
That's like half, yeah.
So it seems
And then-
almost
and
like
then-
they're stating it but as themselves as part of that party, but they're not moving for anything because they're actually not really.
Yeah, they're just part of the caucus because they want to say they're part of a progressive caucus.
There's to say that they're progressive.
Yeah. And then Crystal Ball saying if you're part of the progressive caucus and like the new Democrat caucus, it's like essentially meaningless because they're just opposing viewpoints.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's keep going. I know, even in the divisions or subdivisions and everything, it's biology.
Not a progressive. Some of them, though, are more of the model of like Elizabeth Warren, where, yeah, in an ideal world, if you ask them their issue set, they're like progressive.
Oh, sorry. It's 4:20, so let's smoke.
Oh my gosh.
Happy
All the mountain time people? Is it mountain
4:20.
time?
Yes, in
I
Utah.
almost called them mountain people.
That's fine. They call themselves mountain people. But she's about to make a good point about Elizabeth Warren, who plays this version of identity politics, which is like, I identify as a progressive, therefore progressives should vote for me. Or I identify as a woman,
That's what
therefore...
is a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think that's why a lot of Americans believe they are
Well-
progressive or state they are. And then when you talk about the issues or what they voted, and it's like, what? That's not...
Yeah, so a lot of conservatives accuse Republicans of playing this game. I mean, sorry, the other way around. A lot of conservative accuse liberals, like the Democrats, of playing this game because, like, Barack Obama,
yeah, and then when you see what they have pushed for or the things that they've approved, it's like,
Okay, so yeah, let's keep going with what she has to say about
hypocrisy.
Elizabeth Warren.
On the issues, but they're also very, very loyal to leadership. And that trumps any of their like so-called values, which to me, then your values are sort of meaningless because you're just going to go along with whatever the like corporatist leadership wants you to do. And that is the overwhelming majority of the progressive caucus. You have only like a tiny handful of people who even think about crossing leadership and dissenting. They are not clear, and not just those dissenters who are more anti-establishment, but the ones who call themselves progressives. They don't understand who their actual enemies and adversaries are. You can see it playing out right now with Elizabeth Warren. Like, she has this fantasy where she's going to be vice president. You're not going to be vice president because even you just holding those views like somewhere deep inside where they're barely ever let out to actually have an impact in our politics, even that is too threatening. So you see James Carville saying, maybe we should make you like attorney general. So
that's interesting. She's saying that
because Warren, the things she pushed for was like the no more bail, right? The bankruptcy stuff for she wanted to change that kind of stuff. And that was very like for the, I guess, well, not for the people, more like helping not corporations just to get.
Well, yeah, she's saying, well, let me rewind back because I kind of want to.
Really ever let out to actually have an impact in our politics. She's going to be vice president. You're not going to be vice president because even you just holding those views like somewhere deep inside where they're barely ever let out to actually have an impact in our politics.
I think that's what it was. So she was talking about how Elizabeth Warren, when she has these progressive policies, but then she defers to the corporate or policies, like. So the bailout, for instance, like she was like, no more bailouts. And then every single bailout that we had when this pandemic hit, she voted for.
Yeah,
and no one gave her shit for it. Anyways, that's
what I'm saying. I'm like,
there's like no accountability for rhetoric, I guess, anymore in
like,
governance.
And they expect us to just give them our votes. It's like, how, oh, is this how libertarians are born?
But then Crystal Ball's even saying, even though she is a straight up corporatist, even her just branding as a progressive is too dangerous. So she can't even get the vice president spot. Right. And so for Biden, it's like she wouldn't be vice president. She would be attorney general or something. You know, she would be on the administration, but not as a progressive because I don't think they want to be branded that way. But okay, so she was also saying, when we're talking about how progressives don't like politics, but they like government, Crystal Ball is saying, Elizabeth Warren supporters who are progressive, they don't know who their enemy is. And I think that's part of politics, is understanding who's
stopping your progression.
Well, yeah, or who's on the other side. And I think that's why it's like progressives, they just want to focus on the issues, not on the politics of who's the enemy, or conservative or liberal, or you know what I mean? And so that's what she's saying about Elizabeth Warren supporters who are progressive. They don't know who the enemy is, but then at the same time, they don't really care. I feel like, because they care more about the governance than the politics.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, they have faith in the system.
Yeah, they want a working system more than they want like their team to win or something. Do you know what I mean? It's not that
they feel like bickering or fighting. Infighting might be like fractioning rather than.
I think that's why they don't. Yeah. Well, okay. So let's see.
This is why we need a multi-party system.
Even that is too threatening. So you see James Carville saying, maybe we should make you like attorney general, so that's not going to be a problem. You see the Biden campaign floating, well, it'd be an issue because we need her in that Senate seat, and it could be a problem getting another Democrat elected. She tried to play the game and view these people as her friends and as a team player. See this with Katie Porter, same thing. Sure. She'll level like the meekest, most tepid, vague, you have to like read in between the lines criticism of leadership like it's a big deal. And what ends up happening is like the only people who actually notice is leadership, so they're mad at her.
Right.
So they see her as the enemy, but no one else even notices because she won't say Pelosi, she won't say Schumer, she won't come right out with it. And so I think that is part of it, is that there has been an overwhelming loyalty to leadership that is not remotely reciprocated in another direction. Like leadership is very clear. The Democratic establishment is very clear that anyone, not just who would challenge their power, but anyone who even holds an anti-corporate ideology is their enemy. But the people who hold that ideology don't seem to understand that.
Yeah.
Doesn't that make sense?
Yes.
So the Democratic establishment basically holds that anyone who has an anti-corporate ideology is their enemy. But the people who are anti-corporates don't understand that. They think Democrats are their friend.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
And then they'll get mad at me and call me a Trump supporter for not supporting them. They're like, we're progressive,
See,
more progressive than they are. And I'm like, no, you aren't.
That's the issue with politics, is that any criticism you have towards one party, you're automatically on the other party. You know, it's like
I'm not, but this is ridiculous. This is how you guys get stuff done. No wonder nothing gets done.
it's polartics. All right, let's keep going.
I'm not going to make it to Congress, guys.
That's right. And what I mean by politics is exactly that, which is understanding power dynamics and how to accomplish what you want, which is ultimately, if you're not willing to go up against leadership and you're only willing to pay lip service to something, then you don't really believe in actually getting and using power in order to accomplish the ends of which you told your constituents.
What?
I figured out the other way. I'm just going to become one of those corporate entities.
Oh, yeah. That's how you get real power in the United States. Money. Okay, let's keep going.
Ultimately, your job, and especially as a political leader. This is what, talked about earlier with Bernie Sanders, which is that always being, trying to have it both ways, being the anti-establishmentarian, being a member of Democratic leadership, being the guy who's going to go against the Democratic establishment, and being the guy who says, yeah, I think Joe Biden could beat Donald Trump, and I'll vote for Joe
if you're
no matter what.
Yeah,
These are fundamentally irreconcilable things, and the establishment.
Yeah, he's saying, you can't be against the establishment and then also say Joe Biden would make a great president because
He's part of the establishment. Those boats are going in two different directions. You better.
Yeah, it's or get really good at doing the splits. You can only get so far.
It always wins if you're going to be able to give them that. So you have to only be able to go up against them and actually practice politics if you want to get something done. And I just think so much of it is just idealistic nonsense, speaking out into the ether. And just play acting revolution. That's just not how revolution actually happens.
You have to be.
How? Okay, so I think Sagar makes a good point. It's you can't just have the good ideas and the empathy. You also have to play the game. And Bernie Sanders may be a great I mean, he might be a great leader, but he's not a good politician. Like, he didn't build like a coalition or really reach out to other politicians to like build up a base. He kind of like stuck to his message, at least from what I saw. But my question to you is like, how easy do you think it would be for someone to be able to do both of those things, which is be empathetic towards your constituents and the people, but also be savvy enough to be political enough to play that game?
Yeah, that's why I think in his younger days, he could have done it. Why I keep saying he's tired, he's old, is like,
yeah, he's like 79 years old.
On the front lines, he would get arrested for the protests he did. Like, he would, like, that's the type of movements and stuff that he was a part of. Then once you get up to where you're suited up and in these seats that are actual chairs and these, like, get to work type of thing, it's like, it's hard because
I know, like, think about
after doing that for so long. That's why I'm like, you need like fresh
like
blood,
he
fresh.
Was a great mayor though, and then he made his way through Congress and Senate. But like, yeah, like how many, like, because I could imagine a lot of mayors would be great mayors, but then they would just fall apart at like the federal level just because the game is completely different. It's like college basketball players and NBA players.
So if you don't keep up and if you don't start learning to play the new game, then you're gonna get kicked out.
So there's a difference then between public service and politics. Like, it's like what they're saying before, government and politics. Like, they're almost like the UPS is like, or not UPS, the United Postal Service is like, it's like the government.
Well, okay,
or public
so
schools.
I get like how people respect and like leadership, right? They're going to listen to the rules. They're going to listen to police. They're not going to be right.
Yeah.
But then a lot of times if there's a system issue and you need to help the system move, then they're saying is that means there's going to be a fight. Like it's going to be ugly, and none of them want it to get ugly because it's like, no, this is how the system works.
Mm-hmm. But
so then how do you?
Yeah, I mean that's
what I'm saying. I think there just needs to be a lot more new people, but then they're like, no, because none of the new people know what they're doing, and so none of the system doesn't work because it kind of falls apart. Like what we have with Trump, I think he's not a career politician.
Yeah, which is why people are so excited about him.
Sometimes some of them want him out. I've heard like even like the Republican politicians, they're like, he's making a mess of stuff. Like he's not doing this and this, and it's like, oh, where was that written? It's like, no, this is just like unwritten, procedural stuff. And I was like,
it's like, so he's still following the law. Technically,
this is why it got.
I mean, the law was just written by.
People don't know how our government runs.
Our government doesn't even know our government runs. Okay, let's keep going. We have a minute left.
Oh, okay.
Willing to be villainized, you have to be willing to be hated, you have to be willing to stick a stick in the gears and make it all shut down and make people like absolutely furious at you. And going back to like the core of that despair, I think that many people on the left feel like people don't feel like the left is ascendant and it's just a matter of time before progressives take over the party. No, they feel crushed. And part of, and I think this is the part that is important, it's uncomfortable to talk about, but it is important to recognize, is part of why that despair exists is because the leader of the movement himself essentially said, you guys are wrong in your way that you're viewing things. Like he turned around and chastised his own movement and said, no, lesser of two evils is the best that we can hope for, so you got to get on board. Yeah. And so if even Bernie Sanders, like the most consistent politician in the universe, the most principled, honest politician that you can imagine, like if even he is saying that, then you look at that and you're like, well, where do I exist in this like spectrum? Like name me one person that has power and influence in this town who actually represents my views is going to fight for the type of politics and the type of policies that we believe that would make the country better.
So what you're saying about
now they've lost hope in their government and they'd rather just if voting for Trump means it'll break it, break it.
I can definitely see progressives voting Trump over Biden because if
the status quo.
Yeah, if they don't want the status quo and the guy that they didn't want or the guy they did want isn't in, then they're going to go for the least status quo person, even if he's quote unquote better.
Because he doesn't even know his left from right.
Well, that's the thing. It's like he passed the coronavirus Medicare easily, And it's like, for progressives, it's like, oh, you know what? Like, Donald Trump isn't really a politician, so he's not playing that game. He's going to do whatever is in his best interest. So if you can convince him that those progressive policies are in his best interest somehow, that's going to be an easier fight than going against corporatist Joe Biden.
I think so too. I think there's stuff that like. Yeah.
So Bernie Sanders paved the way for another Trump win. Thanks, Obama.
This is the most
I'm just kidding.
fun and involved and curious I got about. I don't know if it's maybe my age thing, but I feel like even through the midterms, I was so surprised how many people got involved.
Mm-hmm.
Because Trump riled up some stuff in people that they did not even, you know,
they didn't know they didn't know they could get riled up that way.
You know, because he was a Democrat for a long time.
Trump?
Yeah, he only ran he's just like, I just want to win presidency.
It sounds.
Who's gonna take me? Which one's better?
It sounds fun.
He's like, okay, and he did it.
All right, so we obviously try to end every episode on a happy note. This is Pewdiepie going over the Not My Job subreddit. So funny. Let's take a look.
Today we're reviewing Not My Job subreddit. I can't speak, help me. I'm really excited for this. This is recommended by one of you guys based on the last subreddit of people doing things very poorly. I don't know why this stuff pissed me off so much, so I expect to get very angry. Install the soap dispenser bot. What? I don't get it. The ones that's plugged in, it's not gonna do anything. Come on. I want realness. I want anger, not laughter. Someone just put down a fresh coat of yellow paint on the subway platform edge. At 9:30 on a Wednesday morning, this platform is going to be a mess of yellow footprints by the end of the day. What is going on? It's hard to think of a better metaphor for how colossally mismanaged the MTA and the New York City subway in particular is. Update. The result has been as expected. Yeah, what the hell are you thinking? I need you to do this job.
Don't they change now?
Okay, did it. You're okay. I hate
New York
that.
finally is going to close their subway.
Oh, yeah,
They haven't done it
COVID-19.
for like decades, but now they're going to, which is good because like that's how Tokyo subs run, and that's why they stay clean.
Yeah,
They're, like 3-4 hours, they're just all maintenance and cleaning. That thing hasn't been maintained.
and they have to run. Like, the essential workers have to get to their jobs somehow.
So much. I did the job. I did what you asked. Another reason I love Japan. Well, it comes with pros and cons, but at least they take their job seriously. Recently invited to speak at a conference and was asked which of my 2 affiliations I preferred to go on by name tag. Probably University of Central Lancashire, I replied. So that's what they put. Probably University of... Probably. That's what you said! How can you be so dumb? Jesus Christ. Stop being dumb! Stop it! Where's my tambourine? Oh, I'm using it as a mouse pad. You win this round. Maybe he should hire someone for that. President spokesman says he can't speak for the president. This is not my job. I can't do that. It ain't gonna happen, man. But you are the spokesman for the spokesman. When the Welsh flag is beyond your artistic capabilities, the Druids pub Brighton. Oh, Brighton, great. All right, what do we got? Dragon. Dragon. It's a dragon. That's funny. Yeah, I do this thing where I laugh and then I say it's funny afterwards. I know, I'm just quirky like that. Everyone always points it out. It's so annoying. So far, I'm waiting to get pissed off. This is too funny. I don't like it. Stop making funny. UPS man, we are home. Please knock loudly. Thanks. Thanks, UPS man.
Well, that's the thing there.
I did my job. Yeah. They love handing out those
Maybe
things.
that person
God
couldn't
damn
read.
It's my fucking job, mate. At my fucking job. This is how Darius Bick delivered my RS600 carbon fiber violin bow to me. Broken in half to fit their tiny plastic wrapping. Who packed that? Good luck, girls. Or as they say in Japanese, speak Japanese. I'm not a fucking scientist. Sacramento, the place to be, not Sacramento.
Sacramento.
Mineto. My colleague ordered some bowls online, and this one came exactly as you see it. Someone wrapped a broken bowl without the parts that broke off, meaning it didn't.
Wait, what?
Someone just sent them a broken bowl.
Oh, that's just scummy. That's not... This is not what I wanted. God damn it, I want the anger. There it is. Now that's a soccer field. Well done.
Oh,
well
my
done,
goodness,
whoever
you
did
did
that. You
that.
did
Hey,
your
man, they
job.
didn't have a
You
ruler,
did it, and
okay?
you did it good. Hope you're proud. Were they drunk when they
They
did
didn't
it?
have a
Dear
drone.
customer, your Amazon account will be suspended to avoid login, reporting you to scammer. Is this a group text scam? Seems like a strange way to cut corners. Yes, a group text scam. Oh, it's a group text. Just put Monday. Which freaking Monday? Just before Monday. The next Monday, obviously. Now that's a good job. That looks about right as if I did it, I would say. Oh, another one. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's a corner
They just
here.
cut
How
a
do we
bunch of
solve
small
this?
pieces
So it can
together.
go around.
Looks like
That
chocolate.
Looks nice. I like that. That'll be 30 grand. Thank you very much. What's the difference between Ultra Boost 3 and 4? Hi, I'm Daniel P. I'll be assisting you today. What's up? How may I help you today? I hate how they do that. You have to repeat what you already written. Can't they just get into it? It's like they're instructed to do this formality. Be like, hello. Hello, sir. My name is... I'm going to ignore this message that you wrote out so you can write it out again. All right. I wanted to know what the difference between 3 and 4 is. Please give me 2 to 2 minutes. 2 to 2 minutes while I look into this. All right, man. The main difference is basically the 4 is newer. Yeah, but what's new? Chat closed because agent had disconnected. Rest my case. I've done my work here. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Installing a door stopper. All right, what do we got? Oh, you installed it on the door. Oh, wow, even better. Even better. Yeah, who installs a door stopper on the doorway? Everyone should. I don't know what the WTF she said here. Nice. Speaks Japanese. Just whenever in doubt, speaks Japanese. That's what the Adidas one should have said. Speaks Japanese. No. What a scumbag. Are you serious?
To deliver mail?
Well, someone is fed up with not having a mailbox. Jesus. Okay, so this person mowed their lawn, and then the neighbors mowed it the day after, but they didn't mow the line.
Whose line is that?
Fucking job. Ain't my job. Ain't out my job, man.
They're trying to grow a fence.
I can't do that.
Trying to grow a grass hedge.
Got your new solar panels set up.
Oh, that
boss.
sucks.
Oh,
That'll
my
be 30
goodness.
grand. Thank you very much.
I mean, that's a
They
fault
run
of the
under
installers,
shadow.
though.
Yeah,
It's like
like,
that
Hey,
building
Jerry, always rest the
existed.
mannequin. Say no more, boss.
Or
I got your
unless-
fam. Done.
Oh, they built something.
Maybe.
Oh my God.
Yeah, maybe they built that
I
building.
put the advert up, boss. I did it, boss.
That looks good.
Yeah.
Are
It's
they all
upside
boss
down.
in the title? That's funny. Yeah, it is. Made the engraving, boss. Did not want any engraving. Just leave the metal plank back. Like, no engraving.
engraving.
Did it, boss. You did what you said, boss. You're welcome, boss. Finish installing the sensors, boss.
What?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's hilarious. The sign's up, boss.
That's just
Notice it's patio. I don't patio.
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 Yeah, like ratio.
That's
I can
it.
understand
It's
his-
currently not open because it is closed. Wow. Thank you.
You could just put
patio.
closed, right?
Thank you.
Patio closed?
So much. Hey, there goes here. Hey, there be like. Good job. Good job, guys. Legal stuff applies. All that legal stuff. That applies right here on all my videos as well. All the legal stuff applies. All of them. Which parts? We are currently out of chocolate milk gallons. We are sorry. We are so sorry for the convenience. Ah, jeez. God damn it. I can't believe they're out. Who fixes a clock like this? Fixed their broken clock, boss. I did it.
You're just trying to save some money. They even use the blue tape. It's like the worst tape to use.
This image is probably the most accurate visual representation of the United States educational system right there, boss. I did it, boss. I gotta go pee, boss. So, Edgar, you finished the video, boss. Ain't my job, boss. I cut the tomato, boss. There you go.
Oh my
Oh, the title's making it so much funnier. I put the lines, boss.
Oh man, this guy was drunk.
Close enough, boss. I tried my very best. Cone! Cone! Hey, Jerry, can you put up a sign that we got cones now? I did it, boss. There's cones now. Egg and cheese bagel coming right up, boss. You want the ventilation shaft installed?
They cut through the balcony too.
And covered the window.
Why is it so funny? I did it, boss. Ventilation shaft installed. This item is reduced due to misspelling of the word bird. Thank you.
Bread.
Thank you. Thank you. Buy it. Bread. You want bread? Come on, you want bread. Bread! Mail the package box. It's a surprise party for my mother, and we live together, so please can the box not look obvious? It's party supplies. Delivery instructions, nice. He drew the QR code.
Oh my god!
He drew the QR code.
He drew the QR code. Someone got so lazy they stopped printing them out and they just drew a QR code. Oh my god! That is so funny. I mean, if they ran out of,
they don't understand.
What would they run out of though? The paper, the ink? I mean,
the printer got jammed.
He sort of gave up in the end too. You know it's a guy, that's why I'm saying it. Oh god. Did the QR code boss. Proofreading this book couldn't have been that hard. Five bananas, boss. I got you, boss. No problem. This is Swedish. Non telephone. What the hell, Sweden? Huh? You don't have any dignity with your work? God damn. It's kind of funny though. I installed the phone, boss. Jag installerar telefonen, boss. Det är gjort. Oh god. My job is not to clean.
Oh my god.
My job is to draw lines. You understand? I did the work, boss. Come on.
Yeah, but
Come
he
on,
didn't
boss,
paint.
baby.
He didn't finish painting the
30
line.
grand. Come on, man. Another one. Another one. Just take it down.
Maybe they don't know
God
how to
damn
get
it.
the batteries out.
Yeah, it's just easier to stick it on the.
How is
People
this
need to
possible
know
that
the
someone went
time.
through the effort to install that and just be like, yeah. Okay, this is the perfect example because they know that they're doing it wrong. There's no way a human being can go like, oh yeah, maybe this is this is it.
Maybe
Yeah,
the
this
column
is
went
it.
on after.
They just did it so they can say I did it. I hate that so much. I'm a fan installer, you see. I'm not a pillar remover. You understand me, boss? My job is to deliver packages, not read signs, boss. I'm sorry. I left them a note. No way!
Oh my
No way!
It's a heater in the winter.
God damn it! I did it, boss. I installed the air conditioner there. Oh god!
I thought you wanted a
better not
heater.
slack up on your job. Don't do this. Don't be this. God damn it! I don't understand even how that's possible. That can't be real. It was a bit hot outside, boss. I'm sorry. I named the streets, boss. We got that street, this street, the other street. I can keep going, boss. No, no.
Oh no, it's not facing the right way.
Boss. I installed the hoop on the court, boss. No problem.
Okay, I changed the
I
sign.
changed the sign. Oh, that's even effort to do that. Why would my boss told me to have a good day, so I went home. What the?
Wow.
I installed the rain. the rain got him.
Oh my god, it's like on a hill.
Done, boss. Need a pole fix? Say no more, boss. I know just the thing. It's like a
Duct
major safety hazard right there. Like, no problem, boss. Jeff, what did I call him before? Jerry? Jeff ordered too many hams. There's a sale. Jeff's got too many hams. Jeff ordered too many. That's my favorite kind of sale. God damn it, Jeff. It's always a J something. I knew it. I knew it. Ah!
Turn left. Oh jeez.
Everyone crashes into the other side. God damn it.
It is.
Where do I go?
Well, no. There's an arrow though. There's another arrow coming
This is
left.
kind of subreddit that just makes you lose hope in humanity and be like, really? This is the quality? I watched the sidewalk, boss. I sprayed a little bit here and there, boss. No problem.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I think it's a
time for
bad
my
power
break,
wash.
Boss. 30K,
It's like-
boss. I'm Jeff. Good thing there's security, boss. Don't worry, I've put it up. Yeah, lock them in nice. Oh, yeah. It took
Oh
me
my
7
God.
tries, but I got there, boss. No problem. The pipe's installed. God damn it. I can't believe there's so much ineptitude. It blows. Oh, God, no. Packaging dumb, boss. You never know what you're going to get with these subreddits. I'm trying to think if I've ever done a bad job. I feel like I was instructed to do a bad job. So technically I was doing my job, but I was doing it badly. So it was, no! Thanks for the instructions, boss. Couldn't have done it without it. Oh, God. Great. What? How is this? Not only did someone build a frame through the ladder, they decided to shingle over it. Oh my God.
What?
Unbelievable. We installed the handicap button, boss. Here you go, handicaps. You're welcome. We open door for you. Oh, fuck. This is a... Yeah, it is funny. I say it's funny after it's funny. Shut up. God damn.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, stop!
What?
Oh, no!
This looks like the machine went crazy.
Oh my God.
Or he like wanted to get
Jesus
fired.
Christ. Stop it. Did it, boss? It's a tough one, but I
Wouldn't they
managed
get
to
fired?
pull through.
It's not like no one's
Did they
gonna
just
see
put
their
cement
job.
bags in the pothole? I did what you asked.
Cement
I put the
bags?
cement in. Oh.
Just wait for it to rain.
Why?
And enough cars to run through, and then eventually it'll heal itself.
All right. That was our show. We hope you had fun, Kier. Thank you for tuning in.
Yay! Hope the exams went okay.
Oh, yeah. Let us know how you did on your exams.
I haven't had to study for a while.
Even when I had to study, I didn't study. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. I got to go play Minecraft. We're going to make Minecraft videos now.
Oh, yeah. My daughter's going to... Adriana's going to be the mini...
It's
Pewdiepie.
Mini you. Yeah, we call it AAA. All right, guys. We'll see you. If you don't have buds, we're your buds. Take care.
Yeah.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Smoke with us.